I am Deidré Wallace, a relationship and corporate therapist. The clue is always in the gaze. Point 5. I was abandoned, therefore I am to blame. I must be bad. If I'm bad, then I should be punished. Throughout my work with clients, it was clear that we don't always realize the full extent of the emotional impact of being or feeling abandoned as a child. And that when we use the word abandonment, it doesn't always refer to physical abandonment. It can refer to the subtle, everyday, small or large, emotional or intimacy rebuffs that we've had to deal with from the moment we leave the womb, when we realize that no one can be there for us 24/7 ever again. Indeed, we don't always have or give ourselves the time to remember exactly what may have happened or how we dealt with what happened. In many cases, the memories may have faded. However, what is important is that we realize that we were all once babies and children, and a child's response to rejection, loss, or trauma is usually to blame themselves. This is because a child's brain isn't fully equipped to deal or understand what has happened other than to think it must have been their fault. Their fault that mummy or daddy didn't give them the attention they craved, or left or died, or didn't love them as much as their siblings, and so on. And these inner thoughts can even be reinforced by some parents, carers, teachers telling their children that they are indeed naughty, stupid, and so on. And if the child feels that because they are to blame, without understanding that no matter what they did or didn't do, they are still loved, this can result in reinforced negative feelings about themselves. And what usually follows is this reasoning. If I was abandoned, I am to blame. I am therefore bad. Therefore, there must be something wrong with me. If there is something wrong with me, then I ought to be punished. If this thinking or belief is not immediately corrected, this destructive thinking will get used in every single situation until it becomes an ingrained habit. And every decision made will get generated from the self-belief. This is because the messages that we receive as children about ourselves may look or seem harmless at first, but words can stick one like mud. Indeed, one word can either lift a child up or it could crush them for life. Also, if a child is provided with the opportunity to think or believe that they are to blame, the child will also begin to stop trusting in its own capabilities as good by replacing it with punishable behaviors. After all, being naughty also gets attention, albeit negative attention. And in adulthood, behavior or life choices often gets generated or created from our childhood core beliefs. In adulthood, this could turn into destructive adult behavior as a adult finds all sorts of ways to punish itself by choosing alcohol, drugs, and so on. Or they may self-sabotage by failing at school, choosing destructive relationships, creating debt, and so on. They may also disempower themselves by all sorts of destructive behavior like getting to work late, forgetting to pay the bills on time, buying unnecessary things, and maxing out credit cards, drinking too much the evening before a major meeting the next day, and so on and on and on. Furthermore, creating situations that allow us to blame ourselves can be quite addictive. It can lure us away from the reality of the elephant in the room, the emotional pain, shame, and deep sadness caused by feelings of being abandoned and not worthy of success, a good relationship, earning good money, and being loved, and so on. Everything has to be my fault, so we make the inner self-belief come true by our choices and behavior, so we can continue to feel shame and bad about ourselves. And this too because we felt abandoned. We land up fearing intimacy, so we either avoid relationships or stay in emotionally unavailable or dysfunctional relationships. Others may not realize that their behavior, whether conscious or unconscious, can force a partner to leave, so they can continue believing that they are not worthy of having a relationship, all because we don't believe we deserve any better. This cycle of behavior can also be very lonely and isolating. When life doesn't work out for us, we tend to point to our immediate circumstances or surroundings without realizing that earlier habits or patterns of behavior may have been instilled deep within, influencing how we think and make decisions, albeit either conscious or unconscious. This is because the feeling comes from many layers deep down that have sadly not been addressed or understood. However, if this happened to you, how have you reacted? How do you punish yourself? We all at some point feel we are bad either because we did something or because something was done to us. This we cannot change. What we can do is begin by trying to remember when it started, or when you felt bad, filled with shame or guilt, and how might you punish yourself now? Or how do you act this out in your daily life? Does it make you feel unworthy or even a failure? At this point, you may want to head to your journal to write down what you have learned about yourself. This may help you understand yourself and your knee-jerk reactions a lot better. And do comment, subscribe, or follow me if you wish to learn more. Thank you.